He spoke to Shakur last night. He damaged his hand in camp. He's been training in Colorado, sparring, and went to get a scan last night, and he's torn the tendon in his knuckle. He had to go for immediate surgery, which he had this morning. He's out of surgery now. Very disappointed, you know, obviously disappointed for himself, and we're disappointed for Shakur and Joe Cordina as well, and for Riyadh's season, but there's nothing you can do. You know, it's quite a unique situation. As I said, operation complete, and now the road to recovery for a big 2025.
How long is the recovery going to be?
We're being told that we can expect him to be ready for February of 2025, yeah. So
Shakur Stevenson has accused Gervonta Davis of ducking a fight with him. Moreover, Eddie Hearn believes he's signed a potentially unbeatable future global star with his recent addition of Shakur Stevenson to his Matchroom promotion.
I know my boxing, and I know how good this kid is. He may be unbeatable. I know he's a pound-for-pound star. There's something about Shakur Stevenson's mentality that gives me confidence that he beats everybody.
Eddie Hearn excitedly broke the news of this new signing by posting on his Instagram account. Hearn said, "You've heard me say for years just how special this young man is, and that was even before signing him. Been around boxing for nearly 40 years, and I believe Shakur Stevenson is a generational great. 27 years old, 3-division world champion, and he's hardly out of first gear. Welcome to the team champ." The 2016 Olympic silver medalist Shakur has signed a 2-fight deal with Hearn, which clearly means he'll have to impress to be signed to a lucrative long-term deal. These 2 first fights will be auditions for Shakur, where he'll need to act entertainingly. Hearn sees something in WBC lightweight champion Shakur that suggests he's on the brink of stardom and believes he can bring that out. Hearn stated, "I think he's been massively undersold and should be not only an American superstar but a global superstar." Stevenson will defend his WBC lightweight title against former junior lightweight champion Joe Cordina in the co-main event of Bivol Beterbiev on Oct. 12. Keeping that in mind, Eddie also outlined a path for Shakur Stevenson to fight Gervonta Davis in 2025. He stated, "For me, what we do is go Joe Cordina, William Zepeda, Gervonta Davis. For me, once we've done our work over that 6-month period, Gervonta Davis against Shakur Stevenson will be the biggest fight in boxing. But we make our own moves. We're not chasing Tank, we're chasing greatness. But that comes with Tank because he's an unbelievable fighter." Moreover, Canelo Alvarez recently had his pick for the winner of the fight between Stevenson and Tank Davis. Canelo said that Stevenson is a great fighter, but he would ultimately put his money on Davis to secure the WBC.
Shakur Stevenson is a good fighter. He moves a lot, and it's very difficult to get hit. To hit him, but I like Gervonta Davis.
Okay.
He's a really good fighter. He hits hard, and he knows how to go forward. So I put my money on Gervonta.
Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis is, despite being one of the most intriguing fights in the sport, continuing to elude fans. Both men are currently competing in one of the most talented divisions in the sport and are joined at the top table by 2 other champions in Vasily Lomachenko and Denis Berinchik. Following a knockout win over Frank Martin, Tank Davis entered into talks with Lomachenko, but the Ukrainian later pulled out with a lack of motivation to fight again in 2024. It left many in the sport to call it a duck, but others pointed out that the same happened in the reverse years ago. Asked if he felt Davis ducked Lomachenko when both were competing at super featherweight in 2017, Shakur was clear in his answer, "Yes, I do." However, Stevenson believes when he finally clashes with Davis, it will be bigger than simply another blockbuster fight. He added, "It's kind of bigger than boxing, I guess you could say, because of the history and everything that went on. All the smoke fight, it's hard to even speak on it just because of the fact that we got a fight. Such a super bout would pit 2 undefeated lightweight world champions in their prime against each other, as Davis holds the WBA title and Stevenson owns the WBC belt. Stevenson has no doubt in his mind that the bout will happen, hinting that it's just a matter of when at this point. I know it's going to happen. I'm the best. He's the best. So when you have 2 guys that's the best, how can you not fight? Only way you cannot fight is one of them guys ain't like that and one of those guys go off to lose or somebody takes an L. But I think with both of us, we're both fighters that's really good fighters, and on that level." He added that the fight can happen whenever, noting both men are ready for it. It can happen next, it can happen next year. Whenever he say, "Let's fight," that's when it's going to happen. Shakur is also confident that he beats Gervonta Davis simply because he's the more skilled boxer out of the 2.
When it happens, I'll be ready.
Why does Shakur Stevenson beat Gervonta Davis?
Because that I'm a better skilled boxer. I master the art of hitting and not getting hit. and he will be the person that will have to change up his style. He can't go out there and box and lose rounds. He would have to change up his style and just become full blast aggressor to try to have a chance in winning the fight.
Former cruiserweight champion turned boxing pundit Tony Bellew has now had his say on the 135 LBS division. In a new post on X, he has said he believes that there is one man who will be left standing when all is said and done, and that's Stevenson. He posted, "Shakur Stevenson will be the last one standing out of all the prospects and world champions." Oscar De La Hoya said that Shakur Stevenson is currently the best boxer in the world, despite him getting criticized for his style. Oscar stated, "I don't think anybody will get in the way of that fight. I'm Zapita's promoter, and I actually want to make that fight. I think Shakur, right now, skill-wise, is probably the best fighter on the planet today. Tremendous skills, but he has to be able to sell tickets." However, Shakur Stevenson's campaign in the lightweight division has been disappointing, to say the least. His performance against Edwin de los Santos was labeled as a snooze fest, and rightly so. Stevenson threw only 209 punches in that fight and landed 65. Nonetheless, to wash away the disappointment of that night, he hoped to put on an entertaining performance against Artem Harutyunyan in his first WBC lightweight title defense this year. That too turned out to be such a bore that his hometown crowd started booing him. On top of that, a lot of fans were seen leaving the venue midway through the fight. On top of that, a lot of fans were seen leaving the venue midway through the fight. There is no doubt about the talent that Stevenson possesses. He is an elite defensive boxer, but fans can be quite brutal towards a boxer who is gun-shy. Most fans pay hard-earned money to see fighters let their hands go during a fight, but Stevenson seems to be having a problem doing exactly that. On the other hand, Stevenson's compatriot in the lightweight division, Gervonta Davis, is a knockout artist. Aptly named Tank, with 28 knockout wins in 30 fights. He unleashes punches packed with devastating power once he has figured his opponents out. Some would say the two opposing styles would make for a great matchup. However, for rising featherweight sensation Bruce Carrington Jr., Shakur needs to up his game before he gets into the ring against G. Davis. When Carrington sat down with Jorge Jaismuth of Mill City Boxing, Jaismuth asked Carrington if the contest between the two fighters had the potential to become a huge PPV attraction. The 27-year-old Brownsville, Brooklyn native replied with a resounding no. Bruce Carrington, who has been a sparring partner of Tank for a few years now, largely held Stevenson to be the reason why the fans of the sweet science wouldn't tune in for his fight. According to him, Stevenson has to come out of his defensive shell and let his hands go in his upcoming performances to warrant a fight with Gervonta Davis. He said, "Right now, no. I feel because these guys are young, they have time to build it up, and because how the audience has been taking Shakur's last performance. The interest of it is low. For it to be big again, Shakur has to have exciting performances, at least back-to-back performances. But Stevenson still has the respect of a good amount of boxing purists, and that includes his next opponent, Joe Cordina." While speaking to Boxing Scene, the Welsh wizard praised Stevenson and dispelled his detractors. He stated, "It's mad because I see loads of people giving him stick, but if you love the art of boxing, you can't knock it. How can you knock that? He hits and don't get hit. He's smart. He's one of the best defensive fighters there is right now, so I don't understand what they're saying. I genuinely don't get it. It's people that just don't see the art of boxing. All they want to see is knockouts." However, Joe Cordina also came up in an interview and made fun of Shakur Stevenson calling out Tank Davis. Cordina said that he doesn't see anyone who can face Tank Davis, and then trolled Stevenson for having unnecessary confidence.
I'll be honest, I don't see anyone beating Tank in that way. I don't see anyone. Well, I'm at the weight now, so I might just throw a lucky dig and throw him a kick. But nah, listen, he's. I just think he got, since he beat the likes of Leo Santa Cruz, his confidence has just gone through the roof. Now he's talking the shit like everyone else is now. Do you get me? He never used to talk like that, but he's giving it. Then he boxed Rolly, and he's giving him some. And yeah, I'm a massive fan of him. Do you get me? So.
In an interview with the It Is What It Is podcast, Floyd Mayweather, who guided a large portion of Tank's career before a bitter split, singled out the two stars as the best in the division for very different reasons. He stated, "You got guys fighting between 130, 135, and 160. They stacked around that area. As of right now, the two guys, the biggest puncher at 135 would probably be Gervonta Tank Davis, but the most skillful fighter at 135 would be, hands down, Shakur Stevenson." Davis has beaten all but two opponents inside the distance with some of the most well-timed and devastating power punches in the sport. Stevenson has just a 45% knockout-to-win ratio, but has, by the numbers, the best defense in the sport. Asked if skills were enough to be the best without the power to keep opponents honest, Mayweather said yes. It's really all about skills. Pernell Whitaker wasn't a huge puncher, but he was very exciting, very tough, and he fought everybody. Shakur's trying to do the same thing. He want to fight the best they got out there. He's asking, can he fight the best? I believe his contract is coming to an end, so hopefully we can come together, and I can get him to the next level with the fights he needs, that he wants. Floyd Mayweather recently stepped back into the ring for another exhibition match. This time, he faced John Gotti III in a highly anticipated rematch. Right after the match, Shakur Stevenson took to Instagram to share a snippet of his private exchange with Floyd Mayweather, clearly in awe of the veteran's performance. Stevenson posted, "Still the greatest I've ever seen," to which Mayweather warmly replied, "Thanks, little TBE." Stevenson didn't stop there. He hinted at future collaborations by adding, "We gon' get some money together one day, FS, but he's the greatest to ever do it for sure. I appreciate this dude big time. Y'all hate him because y'all envy him. Y'all chasing greatness." Coming back to a potential Davis-Stevenson fight, Evans Tobler believes that Davis is the king at 135 pounds, and a fight between him and Shakur would be very interesting. He says that Davis is the current face of boxing, and he and his team is doing a great job of keeping him on the top of the division.
A few weeks ago, who do you view as the best of the 135 pounders? It's being billed as this 4 kings, 3 kings. It's sort of hard to keep track, but how do you summarize that division and who's at the top of it at the minute?
There's only one, and that's Gervonta Davis. Everybody else, they're coming up the ladder. So I'd like to see him and Shakur fight, and then we could, we can really say who's the best. But at this moment, he's the best at 135, and I think he's the face of boxing as well. He's exciting, he's explosive, and I think this Gervonta Davis is hard to beat. He's focused, he's zoned in on what he needs to do as a professional fighter, and his team, unbelievable. Coach Calvin, Coach Kenny, that whole team, those men know him. They know him as a man. And when you have that type of relationship with these fighters, the sky's the limit. So Gervonta Davis is...
When asked about how a fight between Tank and Shakur would play out, Tobler said, "Well, it would be one hell of a fight, but we don't know. We do know one thing about Gervonta, that his IQ is out the ceiling. They don't give him much credit for that, and he can punch too. And then you got Shakur Stevenson, who's one hell of a boxer. We haven't seen him get punched because you can't hit him, so it's one hell of a fight." Shaquille Daly says that Gervonta Davis only needs one punch to get rid of Shakur Stevenson. He believes that Tank will be able to hurt Shakur in the later part of the fight.
So if he faces Shakur Stevenson, how you see that going?
So I feel as though he'd get Shakur in the later rounds. If he'd get Shakur in the later rounds, I'm about to say Tank really has like that one type of power. Like all he really needs is one punch. Shakur, he gets hit, but he don't get hit a lot. So it'd be like a back and forth type fight.
Jorge Linares also feels that Gervonta Davis stops Shakur Stevenson. He stated, "If Gervonta is fighting with Shakur Stevenson, it's more of an easy fight. I like Shakur, but he has so many crazy things right now. For me, it's more exciting to see Lomachenko with Gervonta. If that fight happens with Shakur, it's easy. With Shakur, Davis can do whatever he wants to do. Maybe decision, maybe KO. If that fight with Shakur can happen, I think Gervonta can kill this guy." Robert Garcia, who currently trains pound-for-pound star Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez among others, believes Davis is unbeatable at lightweight. Garcia said, "He's unbelievable, man. I think Tank at this point is unbeatable at the lightweight division against any of the world champions. I think he's the top guy right now in that division. He had a great performance. He has the timing, power, accuracy, everything is great, man. He's a perfect fighter right now." Teddy Atlas believes that Tank Davis is the only guy that can decipher Shakur Stevenson's defensive style.
Because Shakur Stevenson is that difficult. Because of his style. Because of his abilities, because of his eyes, because of his, his legs, and his hand speed, the way that he controls range. Tank Davis is the only guy that I can see that could possibly decipher that style and beat Shakur Stevenson.
Shakur's style of fighting makes him harder to hit, but Tim Bradley believes that the only guy that could give a challenge to Shakur is none other than Tank Davis. He stated, "The only guy that I think can give Shakur a run for his money is Tank. The only guy, man, because his IQ is right there with him, and he got that power. That one punch power to end the fight. If he catches Shakur, bro, Shakur ain't never been hit. But if he catches him, bro, it could be it." But Bradley also thinks that if Davis tries to rush in on Shakur, he'll be torn apart by him. He added, "But Shakur's going to make sure that don't happen. And that's the concentration that he has. He's going to have the concentration all night, and he's going to take limited chances. It's going to be a boring fight, but Shakur should be able to pick it off. And if Tank starts to rush in and starts to get ahead of himself, Shakur going to pick him apart." Coach Larry Wade says that Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson is too big of a fight to not happen. He picks Tank to win the fight if it happens in the future.
You know, I hate to say it won't happen. I feel like that's too big of a fight for it not to happen. I think the length of the time of when that fight happens helps determine the outcome of that fight. If I had to pick someone today, but of course I would pick Gervonta Davis, and the main reason because he has everything there is, including experience. Shakur Stevenson is extremely talented as well and very gifted. It's not going to be an easy fight for either guy, but if I had to pick one guy today,
George Kambosos has no doubt who wins the Gervonta Davis-Shakur Stevenson fight. George Kambosos Jr. is willing to bet big bucks that Tank gets the knockout. He stated, "I'll bet $1 million he knocks Shakur's buck teeth out cold. Won't happen though, Shakur just talks. Maybe if it's 5-on-1 like his little street fight." But Claressa Shields said that Stevenson's is the top dog. She stated, "Shakur is the best. To me, he's better than Tank, better than Devin, better than Ryan Garcia. He's better than Teofimo. Shakur is my #1 when it comes to those weight classes. He is me." The 4-weight world champion then predicted that Stevenson beats Tank and said he has faced tougher opposition on his route to lightweight. "I'm not going to ever dismiss a fighter. I think Tank got some great skills and hard-ass punches. He's so explosive, but so is Shakur. Shakur has, for me, faced harder challenges than Tank. When you look at the guys Shakur fought, their records and style, Tank cannot say he's the best if he knocked out Ryan and Raleigh. Who the f*** is a Raleigh and who the f*** is a Ryan? Those guys would never get in the ring with Shakur." She further added, "People say it only takes one. You're right, but when you're only getting hit 5 or 6%, I'm just rocking with Shakur for that fight, and he's going to be smart. Shakur's strong too. He's fast too. When he's got something to prove, he fights to a higher level." Paulie Malignaggi has given his backing to Stevenson and thinks the Newark man would get the job done. He stated, "He is the best pure boxer in the sport. Nobody can touch him. Nobody can beat him, including elite levels guys," said Malignaggi when speaking to Pro Box TV on Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson would beat Gervonta Davis and make it look pretty easy. Davis's power is always a wild card, but Shakur Stevenson is way too good. But Jarrett Hurd believes that one could take Tank's power in the 135 division. Whether it's Lomachenko or Stevenson, Hurd says that no one is safe from Tank's outrageous power.
Can anybody take that power at 135, in your opinion?
Hell no. Hell no, man. If you look back on PBC, where everybody's hitting that punch machine, Deontay Wilder, Eddie Reed, all them. Tank got the highest joint for a reason. Your man got bricks.
Jaron Boots Ennis was asked about how a fight between the two might go, and, like many, found it a hard one to call. He stated, "That's a great fight, you know. I think that's 50-50. Two great guys, two sharp guys. That's a great fight. I really think it's 50-50. They both great fighters. We're not going to know till they get in the ring. That's a great match. Shakur is sharp. He knows how to box. He's technical. Tank, he's sharp. He can box. He's got power. He can do everything. I think that's going to be a sharp type of fight." So what are your thoughts about this fight? Do you think the mega fight between Tank and Shakur will happen in the upcoming future? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.